Have you ever spent hours studying, only to find that after just one night, nearly 70% of what you learned has already disappeared from your mind? It feels discouraging, doesn't it? But the truth is, it is not your fault. Our brains are designed to eliminate unused information, much like a computer automatically clearing its memory. In science, this phenomenon is called the forgetting curve. Within just 24 hours, most newly learned information fades away, and after 3 days, almost nothing remains. So why can Japanese students memorize more than 2,000 kanji characters and retain them for a lifetime? Is it because they study harder? No, it is because they study smarter. While many people still rely on traditional methods such as rereading, taking notes, highlighting, or repeating lines of text, methods that the brain treats as redundant and quickly discards, Japanese students discovered highly effective memory training techniques centuries ago. The good news is that you do not need to study more. You only need to study the right way. Here are 5 powerful, science-based learning techniques that can help you remember longer, learn faster, and achieve better results without spending the whole day buried in books. The first method is Kumon, a way of learning based on the principle of small but consistent steps. It is not about cramming or forcing yourself to absorb a large amount of knowledge in a short time, but about breaking information into manageable parts and studying steadily every day. Imagine learning as a mountain climbing journey. If you rush to reach the peak, chances are you will exhaust yourself halfway and give up. But if you divide the journey into smaller stages, take steady steps, and rest when needed, eventually you will conquer the mountain with ease. Learning works the same way. Instead of squeezing everything into one session, break it down into smaller parts so your brain has time to process and absorb. What makes Kumon unique is its consistent repetition. Each day, you take in just the right amount of knowledge and then review it the next day before moving on. Over time, the information is gradually reinforced until it becomes second nature, much like a pianist practicing a short piece daily until they can eventually master an entire symphony. This principle is also emphasized in James Clear's famous book, Atomic Habits. He suggests that if you improve by just 1% each day, over time you will achieve extraordinary progress. 1% may seem small, but compounded over 365 days, it creates a massive transformation. Kumon, therefore, is not just a learning method, but also a philosophy. Great success is built on small, steady steps. Slow but steady, persistent yet effective. That is the secret to learning deeply, remembering longer, and never burning out. The second method is Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. This is a Japanese philosophy of learning and working that emphasizes how great success does not come from sudden leaps, but from small steps sustained over time. Many people fail in their studies not because they lack ability, but because they set goals that are too big and try to change their entire routine overnight. As a result, they quickly burn out and give up. Kaizen is different. It teaches that you only need to improve a little each day, but never stop. It is this steady accumulation that creates massive change. In fact, you do not need hours of study. Just 6 minutes a day can be enough to make a difference. You can spend 2 minutes on active recall, 2 minutes on spaced repetition, and 2 minutes on practice through application. 6 minutes may sound small, but repeated every day, it becomes a powerful habit that helps you progress without feeling overwhelmed. Kaizen is like a small stream of water flowing over stone. Day by day, little by little, it wears away and shapes something much larger. If you stay consistent with these small improvements, you will be amazed when looking back at your journey. From what once seemed like insignificant steps, you will have built a strong foundation. With Kaizen, learning is no longer a burden, but a steady, effortless journey where each day brings a new step forward. The third method is active recall. To understand it, imagine your memory as a group of muscles. If you only sit and look without exercising, those muscles will weaken over time. But if you train them regularly, they grow stronger and more resilient. Memory works the same way. The more you force it to work, the more durable it becomes. A common mistake many people make is rereading books, highlighting passages, or copying notes word for word. These methods give the illusion of learning, but in reality, the brain is only receiving information passively and quickly discards it. That is why you can study repeatedly, yet forget most of it just a few days later. Active recall is the opposite. This method requires you to pull information out of your memory instead of looking at the book. Applying it is simple. After studying a section, close the book, take a blank sheet of paper, and write down everything you can remember. It does not need to be neat or complete. What matters is that you are forcing your brain to work. Afterward, open the book to check and fill in the missing or incorrect parts. At first, this may feel difficult or even frustrating because you cannot recall much. But do not give up, because this very struggle is the key to strengthening memory. Every time you try to recall, the neural connections in your brain are activated and reinforced, just like steel being forged. The more it is hammered, the stronger it becomes. The Japanese often compare memory training with active recall to a samurai sharpening his sword. Each time the samurai draws and swings it, the blade becomes sharper. In the same way, every time you push your brain to retrieve information, your memory grows sharper and more precise. The fourth method is spaced repetition. Imagine you are taking care of a plant. If you pour a huge amount of water on it in a single day and then leave it unattended for a week, the plant will quickly wither. But if you water it at the right time, in the right amount, and at regular intervals, it will grow strong and healthy. Memory works in the same way. The biggest mistake many people make is cramming right before exams. They try to stuff all the knowledge into their heads in one night, hoping to remember everything. But the brain simply cannot process and store such a massive amount of information in such a short time. The result is that within a few days, or even just a few hours, most of it is forgotten. Spaced repetition is different. This method is based on the forgetting curve, a principle in neuroscience that shows how the brain quickly discards information if it is not reviewed. But if you review at the right moment, just before the brain is about to forget, the memory is reinforced and retained much longer. Applying this technique is simple. After learning something, review it after 24 hours, then again after 3 days, 1 week, and 1 month. Each review session does not need to be long, only long enough to reactivate your memory. These spaced intervals signal to the brain that the information is important and should be stored in long-term memory. Today, you can use spaced repetition in many ways. The most common is through flashcards or apps that automatically schedule your reviews for maximum efficiency. If you prefer the traditional way, you can create your own study schedule. Study today, review tomorrow, then 3 days later, then a week later. The key is not how long you study, but studying at the right time and at the right intervals. With spaced repetition, you no longer need to cram desperately before exams, yet you can still retain knowledge for months or even years. This is the very technique that helps Japanese students and millions of people around the world master vast amounts of knowledge with ease and effectiveness. And finally, there is Zanshin, the art of focus. This is not simply a study technique, but a state of mind rooted in the spirit of Japanese Bushido. In martial arts, Zanshin means complete awareness, when the mind is free from outside distractions and all energy is directed toward the present moment. The Japanese apply this spirit to learning through small rituals that signal to the brain, it is time to focus. It could be sitting at a dedicated study corner, using a familiar pen, playing soft music, or even lighting a candle. These simple actions act like a switch, shifting the brain into deep concentration mode. When you enter the state of Zanshin, outside distractions seem to disappear. You become fully immersed in your studies, and in that moment, time appears to slow down. 1 hour of true focus in Zanshin is worth far more than an entire evening filled with interruptions. Zanshin not only helps you learn faster and retain knowledge longer, but it also turns studying into a meditative experience, where you connect deeply with yourself and with knowledge itself. Once this habit is cultivated, focus is no longer a struggle but a natural part of your daily life. As you can see, learning should not be a stressful battle. It should be an intelligent, effective, and sustainable journey. The Japanese have proven this for centuries. They do not study more, they study smarter. Active recall to remember longer. Kumon to progress step by step. Spaced repetition to review at the right time. Kaizen to improve each day. And Zanshin to focus at the highest level. The choice is now in your hands. Will you keep cramming only to forget everything? Or will you start applying these science-backed methods today? Success does not come from listening and then doing nothing. It comes from action. Choose one method, try it today, and feel the difference. With steady progress each day, you truly have the power to change your life.